So we met, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that we met right at the beginning of COVID. I came to one of your workshops. It was like a self-tying bondage Shibari workshop. And that's how we met, right?
I think that's how we met in person. We might have been connected on the internet somehow.
Yeah.
If you remember, that was a Reiki bondage workshop,
Mhm. Yep.
self-tying class, and it was
Hmm.
the very last event before COVID. It was like
Yep.
March 13th. It was
Yep.
right after that, everything shut down. It was the very last in-person thing that I did was with you. Yes. And
Yes. Wow.
and then our worlds changed forever.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, wow, here we are. I really like I haven't really connected with you in a while. We've both been on our own kind of wild journeys and adventures in the last 6 years and also landed like in these really beautiful spaces, having both moved through a lot of like erotic sexual spaces. And it seems that you're still a part, like your work has shifted, but that's still very alive and present for you. And we have both come into a deeper relationship with God, with our higher power. And I just have to say, like, how beautiful it is that I'm hearing more and more stories of women who have been on the same journey, you know? And in listening to some of your YouTube videos, the word intimacy really stood out to me. And us both being women who care very deeply about people having a sense of connection and intimacy with themselves and with each other. And we both know how like broken the sort of templates of intimacy are for the world. And so this, for me, this coming into an awareness that like my intimacy with God is foundational, that I was actually, I'm so grateful for my journeys and everything that I've learned. But in one sense, I see that I was like seeking intimacy with men before actually developing that foundational intimacy with the divine, with a higher power that loves me. So,
And that's what is resonating with as it like you're moving through your journey and your evolution and like sharing about that. I'm like, oh my God, this is resonant because I'm like, how did we even get here to this conversation, to this moment? And you sharing your story and being where you are and being in your evolution and being so honest and truthful and just in your expression. Like I was literally driving one day and it like this little nudge of an idea was like, can you please reach out to Alyssa and share your testimony with her? I was like, the fuck is that? I have no idea. What do you mean share your testimony? What? I don't have what?
mm,
But it is all of like, and that foundation of the intimacy with God, with yourself, with this intimate exploration of what it means to be connected with the divine, with life itself, and letting that be the foundation. Like, that's what shifted for me is like bringing that back to the foundation and then letting life be an expression of that versus the opposite, which is where I was like seeking the validation, seeking the connection, seeking the humanness, but really wanting the divine and going, trying to get to the divine through the human versus going to the divine and then letting the humanness be an expression of it.
mm, mm. Yo, yes. I gotta be honest. There's what's coming up for me is as I'm stepping into like the path of following Christ and reading the Bible, this is something that I just ran away from, right? Like I was raised in a family where my parents were raised in the church, but they didn't bring me and my siblings to church. And so I've been on this journey of like finding my own way and exploring all these sort of different modalities and spiritual traditions to some degree, but then really landing, a year, 2 years ago in this like breaking open, like sort of rock bottom moment when a relationship ended and I realized that everything I had been building for 5 years was like gone and I had nothing. And I literally just fell to the ground and started to pray. And it was maybe 6 months after that that I realized that I had always had this resistance to Christ. And I was like, why? Why? You know? And I really just opened myself to being made humble and like there must be something for me to explore. If I'm feeling all this resistance, like I've met plenty of people who are just down with Jesus and they're like, yeah, they're not Christians, but they're like, yeah, we love Jesus. But I had this resistance, you know?
Right.
And something that is coming up for me in what you're sharing is I used to be really, there's so many concepts within the sort of domain of Christian thought that I didn't understand and that also have been distorted, I would say, right? And I heard a lot of the distorted versions or the versions that sought to condemn, to use these concepts in condemning ways versus seeing them through like the eyes of liberation and like how does this make me more free?
Right.
And so something that has come up for me is this idea of living for the flesh and that there's a way that I kind of conceptualize what I used to do as like being a reflection of what you're just saying. What you've been saying is focusing on that first, focusing on the sex first, focusing on the validation that I receive from men and from their desire of me first. And there was an emptiness. There was an emptiness there. Whereas now it's like focusing on my relationship with God, with the magnificent, creator that is, the alpha, the omega, like the beginning and the end, like so far beyond my understanding,
Right.
connecting with that first. And then the flesh being something to honor, like like in myself, my own sexuality, and in my experiences with men.
Right.
So I'm curious to hear
Well,
what
and
you think about that.
I think that what's resonating with me is the distortion part. Is that
Yeah.
it like I felt like I had a distorted and warped perspective because I was
Mm,
seeking like that relationship with creator. I was seeking like spirituality and deeper relationships and I had such a desire for it, but like my lens was warped and how I was moving through the world because I wasn't as connected to the light, to that energy, to God, because I was thinking that, I could do it myself or I could figure it out or I didn't need that much reliance on a higher power. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, I got one,
mm,
but like mostly this is me doing it, right? And it truly
mm,
wasn't until like that humbling moment. Like, Alyssa, you're sitting here, what you just said about 2 years ago, breakup, being like, is the exact same thing I could have said.
mm,
Exactly. 2 years ago, hit the floor, hit the ground on my knees, humbled, like lost it all, everything I was building, everything I thought I was building toward. And then my creator was like, I know that's what you think that you're building, but I've got something bigger and better and that's actually lined for you. So we're going to burn all this down for you. We're going to do for
mm,
you what you cannot do for yourself.
mm, mm. Okay, so bring me into a moment of like what it was like before. Like what what was happening for you that had you kind of it sounds like there was something that was missing and you didn't know it at the time.
Right. Um, well, this is our shared desires of this being a wife, being a mother, having a beautiful family, cultivating and creating this life. And having that be such a clear desire from a very, very young age. And then trying to move towards that desire, but not actually making choices that lead me to that desire. Instead, I can now look back and be like, now I can laugh about it because it's been enough time. But instead, I was dating a married man who had a vasectomy. Like it was literally impossible. Like the world that I wanted and the world I was moving toward, I was like banging my head against a brick wall, trying to force it. Why not this? Why not this? Why not this? Why not this? Like I was, and it made me crazy because I was constantly fighting for my desire, but in a context and in a world which it was never accessible. And me thinking that if I just stay in it longer, that something would change. Like, and I realize now that again, my higher power does for me a lot of times what I don't have the ability to do for myself. Like, I wanted to leave a job, I couldn't leave a job, I got fired instead. I needed to leave this relationship, didn't know how to leave this relationship, was so codependent, so much of my identity, so much of my community, so much of my value in this relationship that I didn't have the power to actually separate from it. And so I needed higher power to come in and say, baby girl, I got something better for you. And I need you to move out of this situation. I know it's hard. I know it's painful, but I'm building you up and to be the woman that I want you to be who you
Mm.
could be, to be who I designed you to be. That's what I want to, that's the hope is that you get to actually meet who I see in you.
Mm. Mm.
And so that, I mean, having that big, and then it's just like, my higher power is dramatic, just like I am. And
Yes.
literally, like we won't talk about the community or anything like this, but it was like literally the community and the world that I was living in. The studio burned to the ground on Valentine's Day. On the morning
Mm.
of Valentine's Day, the day of love, that
Yeah.
we're saying that this is all about love. And luckily, nobody was hurt, nobody was injured, but the whole thing burned to the ground. And I knew it in the moment. I knew it. I was like, is this the time for me to leave? My higher power was like, yes. And then little
Mm.
human Amanda was like, but I'm going to keep trying and I'm going to keep trying to figure it out. I'm going to keep pushing and pushing until until I actually hit the bottom and like actually hit the bottom, which is not a fun place to be. But once you hit bottom, the only place to go is back up.
Yes. And the journey of being brought to one's knees. And I've got to say it, you and I having been women who traversed in different ways to different degrees, but traverse the worlds of BDSM and power dynamics, right? To it blows my mind, and it also doesn't surprise me at the same time that we would like come into like have the revelation of like the ultimate power dynamic being I am one human being and there is a power that is greater than me that is like underlies and animates all life. And that, like being with the enormity of that, where I see for myself the places where I wanted a dominant man, you know, I wanted a man who I could submit to. I wanted a man who would correct me. I wanted a man who I could be obedient to. And all of those words, if I thought about them at the time in the context of God, I was like so resistant. Like, no. Which is so interesting because look, I love like there's something that I love about the rebellious spirit, but also when it controls a person's life, when it is like one of the guiding forces, it can be really tricky. And I see how that was one of the things that was driving me unconsciously because I was always a good girl. Like I was
Right.
got good grades. I got, I was a good person and all of this, right? But I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was living in so much rebellion.
Right. And that rebellion became a part of the identity in
Yes.
that phase, in that season of my life. That rebellion became a part of who I was and how I identified in the world.
Mm. Wow. How does it like has your relationship with like I'm curious I'd like to dive in a little bit here to like the idea of rebellion. Like how has your relationship with that as a concept changed? Because you are still someone who works like and I'd love to hear you share more about like the work that you're doing now, but you still work in a space that is would be considered by most unconventional, right? And so there's this like, is your identity being the difference between your identity being run by rebellion and being someone who may be perceived as a rebel because we are doing work that is perceived as unconventional by most people, but that is actually important.
Right. In like to me, it's rebellion against the untruths, like like what we were talking about in
Mm,
the beginning, the things that we were sold and told around God and religion and all of this that is to condemn and to make smaller and to diminish ourselves. Like that's what I'm rebelling against. Like
mm,
the only reason it seems like I'm rebellious is because I'm actually more connected to truth,
mm, mm,
right? So I am rebelling against this status quo and the expectation and the crap that we've grown to expect in this world. And I'm like, no, that's not, we're not doing that anymore. Like, yeah, it feels rebellious that I have a relationship with a higher power and a God, and I have a deeply spiritual life, and that's important to me. Like, the rebellious nature. I actually ran a program a couple years ago. This is pinging for me called the Holy Rebel, of like how we're rebelling against like that purity culture and that idea of like you have to be this kind of way to be good in God's eyes. And
mm,
all of that control of religion and spirituality versus like the first thing that Jesus ever said was change your heart and change your mind. That was the first. It wasn't convert to Christianity. It wasn't repent for your sins. It was change your heart and change your mind. So
mm,
that's what we're rebelling against. We're rebelling against this expectation that like it is this way and this is the world that we're living in because we know that the kingdom of heaven is alive within us and that that's what we're tapping into and want more access to here in the present, in the aliveness, in the moment, in the now, in the present, like what we actually want to touch. So that's what we're
mm.
rebelling against to hopefully get more of us into that world, into the truth of it. So,
I mean that it is the world is born through us, like it is what we make of it. And even Jesus in the time that he was alive was a total rebel. Like he was not liked. You know, it took him time for people to kind of be like, wow, maybe this guy is really, you know, maybe he has some wise things to say. And then
right,
still he was,
yeah, go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, and just still he was killed for what he represented.
Right. And I
Like
go
that.
back to that story, the Easter story, and go back and read it. It is not Pontius Pilate or the people in power that wanted to kill Jesus. It was the people, the masses, the
Mm.
collective consciousness that said,
Mm.
no, take him. They said, but we'll let this one guy go. They'll let Brutus, his name, who was an actual murderer, an actual like bad guy. And they're like, well, let's crucify this guy. And they're like, no, 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 take Jesus. So it was the people. It
Yeah.
wasn't actually the people in power that made that choice. It was the collective consciousness. And so that's what we're building. That's what we're creating and cultivating is like that Christ consciousness of openness, of love, of understanding, of patience, of connection, of intimacy with ourselves, with each other, with that understanding rather than most of what we see in the world today, which is like the perverted, warped, distorted version of it that we're all living in, that we're like, that's why we feel the constant conflict because we know the truth and then we're
Mhm.
living in a different reality, and that to me is the main conflict is we're trying to cultivate this world that we know is available and accessible, and it's just like the other the dark side, the forces are just
Mm.
relentless,
Right,
relentless.
and that those but like to your point, it's like the dark side. What is that? It is a collective consciousness that people have agreement with.
Yeah.
And when they see the light, right? So to speak, but like when they see another way to be, another way to treat themselves and each other, they see the possibilities that lie in this life and that we all get to like so into like this, I think about this like sowing into the kingdom of heaven. Like heaven is not just some distant place. Like we live on a paradise. This earth is a paradise. Like it gets to be here through who we be, how we treat each other, and what we do, how we serve. And this is, you know, like I think about how we are all designed to serve in some unique way in our corner of the world.
Hmm.
I found this woman on Instagram who I really appreciate, who has like a lot of piercings and wears like wild makeup, and she loves God and she talks about Christ specifically. And she talks about how there are so many people, a lot of Christians, who judge her for having piercings and having tattoos. And she's over here like, we are meant like people who have piercings and tattoos might listen to me because I look like them, because I'm part of their sort of like community, right? And I just thought that was so beautiful. And it reminds me of, like what you're saying, it, that it's we all have a role to play here. And
Yeah.
it's like, are you actually awake and aware of that role, you know? And
And the
so on
world
that,
is trying, yeah, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I
no, no,
love
no, please go.
because the world wants to disconnect us from that, wants to
Yeah.
like numb us to the power and the magic that we're meant to share here on earth. And so like
Yeah.
that's what it does. And that it tries to disconnect us from this source and from the power so that they have power over
Hmm.
this over us. So that's why like I think that's when I think about like how did we get here in terms of Christianity and the religion piece of it? Like that's the piece of it is like that's where the control comes in. But sorry to interrupt.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, and I will say, I think that there's also, we're in a time where people are coming into religion, and I see it at least in Christianity, but like recognizing that, oh, this gets to be like, I don't have to be confined by the dogma. Like, my God is bigger than that. And there are certain things that like different religious communities allow and like enable in terms of the, you know, shared devotion and like the shared rituals and everything like that. And I'm very fascinated by sort of looking at these different expressions of Christianity, at least, and kind of tracking like what's happening in the collective, because there's a lot of people who are coming back to God. And so, where do they go? They go to like the church that, is on the corner, or the church that their parents like grew up going to, but then they kind of resisted it for a long time. And like it's like this really interesting renaissance that I feel we're in, like a spiritual renaissance. And I think that people are really hungry for it, because we've realized, like so many people have realized, that the things of this world are not enough. And we have this question that, like for what is like more, like what is like beyond this, what is like holding all of this together. So I actually would love to hear, like, can we bring some more definition to like what's wrong? Like what do you see when you look out and you see like the worst of how what people have come to believe and how people have come to behave and to treat themselves and each other? Like, what does that look like?
Hmm. I think we've just lost the plot. It's kind of like it kind of feels like we lost the plot. Like we forgot why we're here at all. Like to your point of like, what are we doing? What is the purpose of this? And like without a connection to something bigger and greater, it really feels like nihilistic and empty. We're just on this rock flying through space. Like, what are we here for? Like to remember that we're here to grow and evolve, and that my soul actually made the choice to come into this body, to come into this life, to learn the lessons, to develop the relationship with this entity, with this energy, with this God, with this higher, whatever, God, universe, Mother Earth, whatever you want to call it, to understand how life flows, to remember that love is all that there actually really is love and truth, and that
Mm,
everything
mm,
else is an illusion that's disconnecting us from that. Like
yeah.
for me, it was like, it was so much of seeking on the outside for that external validation. I think in our intro call, you said the desire to be desired was so big, and having so much of that validation from the external. And to me, it goes back to the ego of, and my personal belief is like the ego is what initially separated us from God anyway. The ego is what made my little sliver of all create and become the little Amanda that is me. So, like, thank God for my ego because it made me me. But also, when I let my ego think that it's running the show, then Amanda thinks that she's God and she's doing all this and I'm doing this and I'm running this and I'm doing this and da 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 da. And all of a sudden,
Mm,
I'm playing God in my life and I've moved my higher power out of their right position. And so it was for me a lot of the ego work of actually like truly humbling myself and understanding that, like, I'm sorry, I don't actually have all the answers. I don't have it all figured out. And unfortunately, I can't do it all and I can't do it all by myself. If I could, I would. And it wasn't
mm,
until like actually being able to see my ego as this guiding force that was not in my best interest.
mm,
Like the ego wants to be seen, it wants to be better than, it wants to be valued, it wants to, like, it wants everything. And I remember I was working in advertising. I was like, I want it all. I want to be this powerful position, all this money, and I want this and I want, and all it does is want. And it's never satisfied.
mm,
And so it's the understanding that, like, yes, thank you, ego. You did your part. You created this little sliver of life. I'm so grateful. And let me check it. Let me understand when it's doing what it needs to do, but also understand that, like, I have to be in right relationship and understand, like, it is God, it is me, and then it is the rest. But if it's not in that
mm,
relationship, if it's not in right relationship, it's never gonna, for me, in my experience, is always gonna be a level of chaos, disconnect, confusion, because I can't see it all. And I need
mm,
this energy, this life force that does know, that does see, that does have a plan that I can trust in. That's the hardest part, is actually trusting in it.
mhm.
Um, but that's what faith and grace and patience, and why we take the time to actually build the relationship so that we can trust in it. Like it takes time.
Mm,
I heard it before. Like if we just talk to our God in the morning and night, like what kind of relationship was that? If you just talk to your boyfriend in the morning and the night, it's like, okay, great morning, great night. Like, no, I want you to be there with me. I want you to go on this journey. I want to go on the ride with me. Like, be there with
yeah.
me and in it with me. And for me, that
Mm.
helps to keep it more grounded and helps to keep the ego in check. And I think, like, that was a long rant on what's wrong with everything, but for me,
Yeah.
it's the driving force of the ego and letting it go unchecked for the most part.
Yeah, I think that you're hitting on what is at the heart of the struggle for so many people. And this, I think about like the rightful hierarchy of there being a God, a creator, a higher power, and then I am beneath that. Like only in my world, I think of it as like only God is on the throne. I used to want to put men on the throne. I put money on the throne, right? Like you were saying, this ch constant chasing. It's like the choice to come into union actually with God. Like that's it feels like such a gift for us to have this perception now of free will, right? And the idea that in our free will we can choose union with God. It's not automatically given. We have developed these complex minds, right, that have evolved over such a long period of time for us to be here, for us to even be having this conversation
Right.
together. Like, incredible. We are like, what a gift. What a gift. And so this is kind of what I sense is the age that we're coming into, is that like reunification with God, with a higher power, and letting that, because it's like so beautiful to want to create, right? Because you were talking about all these things that you wanted and it was never enough. When you create from being enough already, when you create from having enough in your relationship with God already, and you're not chasing that sense of enoughness
Yeah.
and that sense of validation, or dropping out of the game altogether, because that's another thing that people do,
Yep.
right? Is like, well, I'm just not going to even try. I'm not even going to go out into the world. I'm not going to do anything because it's scary out there. And look how people are with each other. Oh my goodness. I think that that is actually like that grips people sometimes even more, you know? And
It's
I
like the
like, and I,
fear of the connection of like what happens when I actually get out there, and it's like, oh gosh, it's just more of the
you know what it is? I was thinking about this in one of the recent church services I was in, because the pastor was talking about pride. And I realized that one of the ways that pride has manifest in my life has been in perfectionism
Mhm.
and wanting to be perfect before I step out and do something, wanting to get my words perfect, wanting to, make sure that I'm presenting in a way that everyone's going to find palatable. And then I would just not do anything,
Right.
right? I would delay all of these things that I felt called to do out of fear and out of the pride of perfectionism, and like, oh, how am I going to look and how am I going to be received and people going to like me? And I really get, it's like, what comes up for me as I talk about this is like the nervous system, and like how many people have just experienced, in many cases when they were very young, something or someone telling them that like they weren't good enough, or that they didn't do it right. And
Right.
then internalizing that on such a deep level that like follows people for decades of life. And I'm over here like, no, like show up for like to
Make the
the
mistake.
arena.
Be
Yeah.
messy. We're human. We get to be messy. That's the gift that we get
Yeah.
to have in our humanness, is that we're not God. We don't have to be perfect. We get to
Mm,
make the mistakes. And like our God is looking at us like we're the little 3-year-olds that are like stumbling along. Like I saw a video on Instagram. It was like how God looks at us, this little 3-year-old like running through the field, like, oh, like so silly. And God's like, you got it. Keep going. I'm like, I
yes.
will take it. Yes. Like I'm allowed to trip and fall and figure it out. And I'm allowed to give myself permission to make some mistakes and to give myself that same grace that like that's why the relationship matters, is because like I know my higher power has that grace for me when I make those mistakes, which means I
Mm,
can have that grace for myself. And if I have that grace for myself, that also means I get to share that grace with others. And so when
yeah.
you make your mistakes, I'm not like, how dare you do that? I'm like, oh, did you learn from it? Okay, great. On we go. Because it is not
Wow, I just
failure. It's like we learned. As long as we learned, it wasn't a failure. Cool. Got it.
yeah.
On to the next.
I just want like I want everyone to have your face just pop up when they make a mistake saying, "Oops, okay, did you learn from it?"
Did
That's
you
so
learn? Okay,
sweet.
perfect. Yeah.
Oh man, can you I mean, like, imagine that kind of world where it's like like people being surrounded by people who have that kind of posture toward them and toward each other. That's a different world.
It's a different world, but we got to have it for ourselves first. I think,
Yeah.
but I
And
think
that's
so many of
it.
us are so hard on ourselves that we don't have that grace, and we're like that again, that perfectionist lens on our own self, which is like the world is hard enough. I don't need to put more blocks into my own self. Like oh gosh, I'm not gonna figure this out. It's not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be exactly how I want it. Like, yeah, it's not. Okay. Can I come into
Mm,
acceptance to that, that life is gonna be a little messy and I'm not gonna have it all perfect? It's taken me a lifetime to get there because I too
mm,
want it to be perfect. And like,
mm.
there's a song in Mary Poppins that's like practically perfect. And I'm like, that's me, just practically perfect. Such a good girl. Then it's like, girl, you make mistakes. You're figuring it out. You don't have all the answers. It's okay.
Yeah, wow. Hearing you say that, I'm like just thinking about the young people and specifically like the young women. I'm curious if there's anything that you have either noticed or like would want to say to speak to young people who feel like really lost in the sauce and really scared for like the state of the world and yeah, what would you and also actually like really confused about relationships and sex and like how do I figure my way here like in this if they're not being if they haven't been modeled how to show up in healthy ways in that arena. Yeah, I'm curious what you have to say about that.
I think definitely developing the spiritual. I mean, that's clearly what we've been talking about. Have a higher power, have something that's greater than, it doesn't even have to be God. It can be a community, it can be love, it can be a tree, it can be like just have something that is greater than yourself. Have a process,
Mm,
like, and I think be committed to your evolution. That like your job here on earth is to grow and evolve. So like everything is changing all the time. So just know that everything is changing all the time. This too shall pass. It's not gonna, whatever you're in, it's not gonna stay that way forever. Like no matter what, everything is changing all the time. And to just be easy with yourself, because it like, and I think just be exactly where you are. Because even in that, it's like, what do I do in these relationships? Da, 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 da. How do I? And it's like, all that is future tripping. All that is like, oh my gosh, I'm worried and anxious about how the future is going, what's going to happen, da, da, da. But if I can just bring myself like actually into my presence, into this moment, into right now, and if I'm actually able to tune into what's here and tune into some gratitude, like, oh, wow, got this beautiful home, got this technology, having this beautiful conversation, got fresh water, I've got a phone that I can communicate with the world. I can do literally do anything in the world. Like, and then all of a sudden I start to be in a different place. Instead of worrying, instead of trying to figure it out, instead of trying to have all the answers, and you just come into now, into the present, and trust that the answers are coming, the lessons that you need are coming, that you have everything you need. Because again, we're not stepping out like, oh, I need something from the world. It's like when this relationship is right, you're solid. There's nothing you need from the outside world. So everything gets to be icing on the cake because you already are the cake. You're like, oh, we got this now, we got this. Oh, and then you get to actually experience life versus trying to figure it out, versus trying to do this and make this happen, da, 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 rather than just being able to be like, I'm here for the ride of my life. What is meant for me? What am I here to experience? What do I get to grow from? What do I get to feel in this body? That's why we have these bodies so that we can be here and actually feel the aliveness. When we are connected and back in soul and spirit and connected to God, like we're flying high in the spirit of all that is. Like life is good. We're connected. It's here that we're separate and where we need that sense of, I'm here, I'm connected, life is good, and I don't have to figure it all out right here, right now. I can just
mm,
be easy with myself in this moment and trust that it's all coming in perfect time, perfect unfolding. And my job is to actually enjoy and experience life. However, I want to judge it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the this, the that, I can put whatever judgment I want on it, but my only job is to really experience the fullness of it. And I can't do that if I'm not here and present and actually living in it.
mm. taking me to church over here.
I am a reverend girl.
I know. I was just gonna say, you really are a reverend.
Like that commitment to your becoming to God, like I made that commitment in my like Reiki energy kind of evolution. And like it's no joke. Like it's like, no, I made a commitment to this life, to this
Mm,
being, to this. I like even want to go back a little bit to that relationship with God because it took me back to I did that. Like I went on a walk in the woods one day with me and my creator, and basically what felt like, to bring it back into the BDSM world, like felt like a collaring ceremony with my creator, where like
mm, wow.
actually seeing my creator, and this is just what works for me, and like take what you like, leave the rest. Um, like actually seeing my creator as my Dom.
Mm,
Like you're the all powerful. You know what's best for me. You know what I need. You know what feels good. You know the lessons I need. You know what's going to be in service of me. And my job is to listen, to surrender, to be in the experience of it. Everything I teach about BDSM is the same relationship I have with my creator. And so I had a very distinct day where I was like, could like literally got on my knees and could feel this energy of like a collaring with my creator. And that's the only way I can describe it. And really
mm,
making that commitment of like, this is my primary relationship. And I
mm,
am allowed to be open because this is my primary relationship. And then there gets to be a secondary human relationship here on earth that is that companion, that is an expression of the divine, that is how my divine gets to express their love through the humanness, through partnership, through a loving connection in that way. And like that's what happened. Like I locked into that primary relationship, and within like probably 6 months, I like because I didn't need anything anymore. I wasn't in the seeking mentality. I wasn't like, I want this husband, I was not seeking anymore because I had my primary relationship. And then all of a sudden, because I'm no longer seeking, because I have everything I need, then there's space for something else to actually come in. And that like it's amazing to witness and to experience and to actually be in the experience of the unfolding of that, to be in the lived experience of it is so fun.
mm. Yes. Oh, okay. I am so excited to hear more about this and just want to first reflect how like I so resonate, and at the time of recording this, I don't have a ring on my finger. However, I am like it's like I'm walking as wife already because in a very real cosmic biological spiritual emotional sense it's like I'm married to God.
I know
And
it sounds crazy, but it's so true. Go on.
yeah, right, I know, but it's like if you think about like I've been thinking about this idea of like marriage as covenant, right? That there's people who I still hear say, "Oh, I don't want to get married. Married is just, being married is just a contract. I don't need to get married under the eyes of the government." And I'm like, I always kind of felt like there was something more to it. And then coming into this walk with God and this sort of like, engaging with the Bible and really thinking about what does it mean to live biblically and marriage being a covenant, not just between you and another person, but it's between you and God and that person. It's actually there's actually like it's under God. Yes, exactly. It's the triangle. And that like similarly, I just feel this sense of, well, when that person arrives in my life, like they get to be one expression of God's love for me. And they're a human being that like I get to meet in their full humanity, not from this place of needing something from them in terms of like validation or needing, being this endless well of of need. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking about the ex-boyfriend who said that to me. He like
My,
called me.
stop it. Did we have
Yeah.
the same exact thing said? You are an endless pit of need.
That's what he said to me. Oh my God. Yeah. That's so what whoa. Also like
So
and
men, stop telling women that we are endless pits of need. That's messed up.
well, okay, so here's the thing is I was like just totally, activated by that at the time. And now looking back, I'm like, okay, I see what he was talking about. And there was I matured a lot after
Yeah.
that relationship ended, and I saw my own behaviors and my own role in the unhealthy dynamics. And I now see that like there were absolutely ways that I needed again that validation, that like attention from him, and I was thirsty for it. I was hungry for it. Where it's like now I have attention from God, from the universe, from like all of creation. I'm not seeking it from this one person, this one individual, And it's like so freeing. And so I feel like so excited for, just to continue in this walk of like, who am I, as daughter of God, and who am I as like a wife to a man, like a mortal man, that we get to be, see each other in our full humanity and also honor the divinity in each other and have our relationship and our lovemaking and like our intimacy be like a divine expression of that oneness with God, like that union with God. That, what's wild is like I went to the sex parties and I went to the dungeons and I was a sex worker for almost 8 years. And I, did all kinds of things in that realm, the ways that I served people. And I had casual encounters and I had threesomes and all of that. And like, it is the wildest, most beautiful thing to land in this place now and realize that the most erotic experience I know I will have in my life is going to be with my husband in the context of marriage. Like, there is nothing that will top that. And I searched in all of these domains and sort of made it okay, made it like, yes, like it was fun. It was a lot of pleasure, but like there's a pleasure that goes so far beyond what I experienced in those worlds. And it's the pleasure of being like at peace with God, at one with God, and having a lovemaking and a relationship that dwells inside of that love, is held by that love. Like that is so hot to me.
Well, and I think when I look back at like the sex party days, the that whole world, the sex worker days, all of that, that it was like we got a taste of it. We would get a glimmer of it.
Mm,
And I think that that was the driving force is like we were so hungry for that connection that like we found this world that was like, okay, there's a little bit of it there, and there's a little bit of it there, and there's a little bit of it. And we thought that that was like how it was.
yeah.
But then what it just showed us that like, okay, we're hungry for that. There's a desire for that deeper experience. And
Mm,
then our creator in the infinite power helped lead us into other places and spaces where we actually get the opportunity to experience that. Because
mm,
I mean, it was, yeah, it's so weird to have such a shift of perspective, to be so deep in it, to be hosting, facilitating so deep in it, and be so connected to spirit in that, and be like, yeah, right now, when I was in that world, that's why like I still love that time and still really respect like who I was in that time, because I was
mhm,
also connected to God in that time. And I was in service and doing what was right for me in that moment. And now I can see that I needed all of that so that I could get to here and actually be able to have the shift of perspective. Because I couldn't have it if I didn't have that to push off against. So I feel really lucky to have been so deep in it, but then to also say it wasn't enough, and there was a deeper desire that I wanted, and that this is the now I'm making choices that are leading me closer to that. And it's not to talk like time and a place, absolutely. And wherever you are on your journey, like maybe that's where you are, where you want a glimmer of it and you get a taste of it and you start to see like, maybe there's something more. And if that is what gets you on the journey and on the path, like
Hmm.
beautiful, perfect.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I like your use of the word glimmer because that's what it felt like for me too. And when I think about the work that I did and when I would have sessions with people, like part of the reason that I can't look back in this sort of demonizing way of my past is because similarly to you, I was still showing up, like caring for people and loving people as best I could. There were so many people that I had, experiences with that like had never felt loved the
Yeah.
way that I showed them love, had never felt tended to, cared for in the way that I cared for them. And I think that there was a way that I felt useful, right? Like in doing that work. And I always had this distant sort of dream that was really there when I was a child of like being married and having children, right? And life kind of, I tumbled through all of these different, like, and explored all these different realms to kind of land like really anchored in what I'm here for, like the ultimate vision of like, yes, marriage and family and like my vocation and being of service in the world. But like I was still being of service to the best of my ability at the time.
Yeah.
And
And I do, and I think that there was purpose in that because I know my
mhm.
creator was working through me. Like I could see it.
Mm,
I could see people connect into an energy and a light that was greater than both of us, that was moving through me. And God was using me and my body and my energy and my life force to connect into, to reveal something to some of these people. And I could see
yeah.
them open up and awaken to something different
Yeah.
that they had never experienced before.
Hmm.
And it was almost like I had the gift of giving the glimmer, the gift of giving the glimmer.
Mm, yeah.
Like they're here for one thing, and then they're actually experiencing and feeling something else, and that they're like, "Wait, what was that?" And that's why I was so, oh, did I freeze?
You
That's why,
did.
but I think that's why I was so successful at it, was because it was so honest and so truthful and so rooted in
Mm.
real, honest love. And we both have that in our system of like just wanting to be so deeply of service and of love. And that's like how it manifested in that way. But uh, yeah.
There's such an innocence in it, you
Oh my
know?
God. Yeah.
I think I love the like the term erotic innocence to me is this like it's our life force is inherently innocent. And if we are born into a world where like that is not necessarily nurtured or it's sought after by people who are acting in like nefarious ways, abusive ways, right? They see this child or this teenager or this like person who embodies this innocence and then they want it for themselves, right? Because they've become so like disconnected from that it dwells in them too. And so I think about that how like I think that for a lot of people, the worlds that you and I have walked through are the place in which like all of that stuff is being untangled. Part of the reason being that if any of us were exposed to or experienced non-consensual, sexual attention, abusive kind of attention in our coming of age, or witnessed, even just witnessed it in media or in communities or in our family. Like, I think that young psyches kind of are searching for ways to untangle all of that and to do it from a place of agency.
Yeah. I definitely needed it. And that's so much of, I think, what I was getting out of the journey was like finding my own agency again. and
Yeah.
finding my own power and using and finding BDSM as a tool to connect into my own agency. And finally, a place where I could have my voice heard and have consent and be clear around what I did want and what I did not want and what was okay and what was not okay. And for me, it wasn't until I was in a BDSM environment where I could actually develop those skills and practice them and realize that, like, the world isn't actually built like this. Like, we're not
Mm.
like, we're not having these conversations, or like the relationships I was in and the world that I grew up in, like, we weren't talking about consent and things like that as openly and as forwardly as we are today. So for me,
Mhm.
like, BDSM was such an important tool in reclaiming my agency and finding my voice and honoring the parts of me that didn't have the voice when I needed it, and being able to find that voice now and know that I can behave different. I can make different choices because I have different tools now, and that, we have grace for ourselves for the younger parts of ourselves that didn't have those tools and didn't know that it was okay to say no or speak up or have that real powerful agency that comes when we're really connected into ourselves. And I think, again, when you're connected into the higher power, you have a clearer sense of, like, I don't need to agree to things that I don't want to agree to, because you're connected to something else that's like, is that really what is best for me? I don't know. So being able
Yeah.
to navigate that with a little bit more discernment, but also like the power of, like, that comes when you're connected into this energy and entity that's beyond yourself.
Mm. I am curious to hear about, because you mentioned on our phone call, this part of your journey of like being sort of the other woman. You brought it up a little bit earlier, like, or well, you brought up the man that you were with, but was that one expression of like your being the other woman?
Well, that was funny. That was like the one expression of me doing it right, because we were non-monogamous and we were polyamorous.
Oh,
So I get to be the other woman, but in the right way.
yeah, heard.
Right? It's like, oh, we found a way for me to be the other woman, but have it be like consensual. And I'm like, wait a
Yeah.
minute. So, yeah, I have 25 years of experience as being the other woman. Talk about the desire to be desired. I like, it is such a unique perspective and experience. I have no idea what to do with it. It feels like a wild experience to have this much experience being the other woman. So I'm not sure what to do with it, but it has been like, it was so much of, like, this person is risking everything. They're choosing me. I'm so desired and I'm so wanted that they will sneak around, they will run around, they will cheat, they will lie, they will do whatever they need to do to get a taste of this because it's so good. I'm the good one, I'm the fun one, I'm the easy one, I'm the yes girl, I'm the fantasy, I'm this world. And I don't have to be that connected to it either. I don't have to be as committed. I don't have to be as vulnerable. I don't have to really show up. So it also put a beautiful boundary up for me. So I never had to really dive into what a real relationship calls forth, of like the truth and the patience and the compassion that's needed in a real relationship. So it created that distance for me where I could feel desired and feel wanted and feel like, oh my gosh, like, all of this for me. And then always, it's good and it's good and it's good until it's not enough. Until you're like, okay, well, this is weird that I have 25 years of being the other woman and 25 years of wanting to have a husband, child, and baby. Like, what are we doing? How do we have 25 years of this desire and 25 years of this behavior? So, this is the part where we have to stop and slow down and look at how I'm contributing to the chaos in my own life. And why am I
Mm.
making these choices? And realizing that it was really a worthiness issue with me. I didn't think I deserved it. I didn't think I could have it. I thought my life, like everything I've ever wanted, I've never been able to experience. So it's just going to be another thing for me to be disappointed about. So let me just, rather than having the desire, let me put the desire away and just push it away so that I can prevent myself from feeling the disappointment of not having it by pushing the desire away. But it doesn't change the desire. The desire is still there. And so instead, I'm just then creating a life that I don't like, that I have no purpose in, because it's not actually connected to what is the true desire in my life. I've instead pushed it down and accepted this version this warped and distorted version that I'm making. So it wasn't until being able to really like step back and look at how I'm contributing to the my own chaos in my life, and how those choices are not leading me closer to what I want. How do I actually stop doing this? And it was so funny. I had forgotten that I made this New Year's resolution, but somebody reminded me. Like, this is recent. Like last year, 2025, my resolution was to not sleep with a married man. Last
Wow.
year, because it was still coming up. Even me pushing, like, I was like, okay, there was one more that snuck in. I was like, okay, this is my last married man. Like, they were so attracted to me. I could literally be walking down the street and be hit on by a married man. It was like they could pick, I don't know what it was, but it was like, okay, this is my very last one, last one, last one. And then finally I was like, okay, this is my New Year's resolution, no more married men. That was 2025. And I stuck with that commitment. And then it was in 2025 that I like actually created some space, took some time off from the casual sex, got myself right with my relationship with higher power, and kind of started to make different decisions. And strangely, now I'm in a relationship, in a monogamous relationship with a partner that I love. Like, what? Fast it can change.
Look how fast it can change when you are in relationship with the truth. Yes. Yeah, because it's right there. It's like God is like, great, I'm so glad you realized this. Here you go.
And
Like,
then for some reason, I'm still like, it's not fast enough. What the fuck? Like, I'm still like, where
mm,
is it? Where is it? Where is it? And then when I slow down, I look around, I'm like, it's all already here. It's here.
yeah, yeah.
It's all.
Mm. I heard somebody say on a video, YouTube video I was watching in the last few days, like if you can imagine it in your mind's eye, like it's yours. Because we have like what we imagine is it's of like the things that are possible in this world. If you can imagine it, it's yours. Are you living a life? Are you making choices that are aligned with the actual vision and dream and desire that has been planted in you? Or are you resisting and avoiding it? Because I did the same thing, the same thing.
Why do
And
we do that? Why do we resist it? Why?
mhm. Oh gosh, I mean, I'll tell you one of the reasons I see why is because I had an innocent desire when I was a little girl to be married and to have children and to have a family. And then I grew up witnessing so much fighting between married couples and married couples who stayed together, out of convenience and not out of love, and who were cheated on each other, you know, who spoke ill about each other behind their back, who never were affectionate with each other, who, you know, didn't do like weren't joyful in their experience of life together. And I think on some level, I started like there was a belief implanted by my witnessing that like, oh my gosh, no, actually marriage and family is dangerous.
Mm.
It's just going to hurt me. Right? So there was the desire was pure. It was there when I was a little girl. But then the belief came in based on what I saw. And then that was like running the show for so many years. And I remember having a conversation. I'll never forget this. It was after I did the landmark forum when I was 29 years old, and this personal development seminar, and it's like all about having really actual honest conversations with people in your life, and I spoke with some people in my family, just telling them like what I like how I was impacted by what I saw them do. And I realized that in my bloodline, like there had been like multiple experiences of infidelity. And it's wild that I saw that like just as I was starting to get into sex work. So it's like I couldn't fully make the connection yet, but similarly to what you said, part of the reason I stayed in that work, like yes, I was being of service in the best way that I knew how at the time, and I obviously wanted to make money, and it was a way to make money. And there was something to like having money come to me because of my feminine essence, because of my womanness, right? Where it's like I didn't have to work, but it was my through my beingness that I would make money. And there's like a whole conversation for another time right there. But like, it's like I was also the other woman for not all of my clients, but some of them.
Hmm.
And 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 then I was also entered into a non-monogamous relationship. And similarly to you, like it's like I got to you know have this experience of being wanted, of being desired, and even making money off of that. But like it also created this boundary where I didn't have to have someone truly see me, truly feel me, truly know me. Like glimmers, yes, and definite degrees of intimacy, but like true, deep, like lasting intimacy was never going to be available for me in that realm. And I even remember being in that relationship and fantasizing about like having just one man who was devoted to me. And it's like the cognitive dissonance was so strong. I remember seeing couples who were would walk and they'd like be pushing strollers and they looked so happy. And there was something in me that was like, no, but what if they're not? What if like what if they're actually not that happy? And what if like he's cheating on her? And it was like, so there was like so much that the beliefs that had sort of been instilled there by what I witnessed growing up were so damaging.
Hmm.
And it was like uninstalling those beliefs and actually, be exposing myself, first of all, to women who were in healthy partnerships and marriages, like actually getting in my system the felt sense that that was possible. That was huge for me. Actually investing in even coaching and mentorship programs that had me around women talking about having healthy relationships with men. Like, oh, such a necessary part of my journey. But then it was ultimately my choosing to leave that world, my seeing that desire and being like, am I really going to live the rest of my life knowing that there's a desire deep in my heart that is not being reflected in my reality? Like, am I really going to do that? It was so painful. It was so painful to be living as I was living. And I knew it would be painful to end it, to exit that lifestyle. And it absolutely was. But now I'm like, like, I'm so glad that I chose that. Like, I chose the pain of leaving and saying no to what wasn't aligned over the never-ending pain of living in that misalignment.
Yeah. It's the hardest thing, but that's the choice. And that's the actual free will for me. Is like making the choice that is actually aligned with what is in service for you and your evolution and your growth. Because it the same way it was like I came into this year, 2026, and I was like, okay, like my body was like, no more sex work. My body told me. I didn't I like the money. I like the like I enjoyed it. And my body was like, I can't do this anymore. I need you to listen to me and I need you to respect that I can't do it. And I did. And I was like, fuck, how are we going to do this? I don't know how to figure it out. And I'm still like in the process of figuring it out. And thank God I've like invested in my education, and I'm like shifting into intimacy coordination on film and television. So finding new ways to use the skills and the things that I've learned along the way, but being so clear of like, this is not aligned with me. And it was so funny because that new relationship was starting at the same time I was starting to have this feeling. And I had to be very clear with myself and with my partner that I'm like, I am not doing this for you. I'm not doing this for this relationship. I'm doing this because this is what I need, that's in service of what my body and what my spirit is asking for right now. And I have to fully trust that my higher power is also going to provide the new opportunities, the new resources, the money, all of it in perfect timing. And that is the scary part. That is the scary
Mm.
part. And it's happening and I'm in it. And one little this door open closes and this one starts to open and then it starts to like flow a little bit, but actually making that choice of like, no more of that, no more of that. Like even with my partner, we started by microdosing monogamy. We would do 1 day at a time of monogamy. We would check in every day at like 11:11 and be like, okay, do we want to be monogamous today? And we would just literally like explore it and talk about it and have, because it's been so long that I've been not been in a
Mm.
monogamous partnership, that there was so much fear around like me losing my freedom, losing part of my identity, because I have a history of losing myself in relationships. And that is
Mm.
not what I want to do. I want to be my fullest expressed self and be in partnership. How do I do that? So that's been the, like, thank God I have a partner that's very patient, and it's like I can talk about like my process with leaving sex work and the challenges that come up and the financial challenges that come up as a result of that. And like I still have clients that reach out that are like, oh, I miss you so much, and I like will read their responses to him, and it's like, so I can still like feel some of that desire right now, but I'm not acting out on it. And it's like a really
Mm.
interesting thing to move through as I am like shifting, like making the clear and conscious choice to not do that work anymore, and to trust that like as we shift that a new pathway is opening up.
Mm. Yes, that also, it's like not only is a new pathway opening up, but I see this for you and I see this in me and in so many women who have, been leaving those worlds and are on a similar, journey to us. It's like we have been in these underworld journeys, in one sense. And now we get to move forward in this sort of like topside world, but with the treasure that we have taken from those journeys. And it's like that is actually like the world needs it. Right. I'm similarly to you. I'm right now, I've been building my coaching and mentorship business for women, like really teaching women how to have healthy relationships with men, a healthy relationship with themselves and their own body, how to communicate in healthy ways, having a relationship with the divine, with a higher power. And it is not the like, the kind of money that I experienced right off the bat with like the old work that I did, where it was like, okay, put up an ad, or like I started actually through like a sugar daddy dating site. Like that was kind of my what opened that whole journey for me. And it was like, oh, in one night I could make the amount of money that I would make in half of a month at my cashiering job, But like it's like at what cost was that happening? And now I'm walking in this way that is actually aligned, and I have faith that it's going to not only work out, but it's going to lead to so much beauty and so much like so many so much service, right? Like me actually really being of service in the way that God is calling me to be. Like there was a way that in that old lifestyle, I was still playing it safe. Like sure, like the money was good, even though it was could be also be up and down and volatile. Like so, it was still could be stressful, right? But like I was hiding. There was a way that I was hiding. And now being willing to like walk courageously in this new path, walk boldly in this new path, to continue to realize like I can really do this. Like there's literally nothing stopping me. And I also am surrounded by incredible people and incredible women who are like all making our way in this world with the profound tools that we have available. And then our gifts and our talents and our sight in tow. Like there's been no greater time to be alive.
So good. So good. We're doing the work, girl. Like, this is it. This is what it is. It's showing up, it's diving in, it's being mindful of the ways that we've contributed to the lives that we're living, and then being able to start to make different choices and
Hmm.
allowing our lives to actually change. Because that was
Hmm.
what it was for me. It was like, I hit the point where I was like, I want to be completely obsessed with and in love with my life. I want to
Mm.
love it. I want to wake up and just love to be in my life. Like I want a life
Yes.
that I'm obsessed with and I love and I love. Because 2 years ago I was like, I hate my life. I don't like this. I don't want to be in this life. And so it's been 2 years of really cultivating of like, what life do I want to live? And what life does my higher power want me to live? Because I'm like so resonate with that of like I was hiding because even this conversation feels like the most open, scariest. Like this is the like I am a deeply spiritual person. I have a deep relationship with God. Like I bought my Bible just in case I need to throw out a Bible verse. Like, who is this girl? Like, I don't even know. So, like, we're shedding all these layers of who I'm shedding all these layers of who I thought I was and how I thought I had to be in the world. And it's so liberating and it's so fucking scary. But at the end of the day, it's like exactly what is right for me in this phase and where I am. And that is not to like diminish anything around polyamory, BDSM, sex, any of it, because it has all played such an important part of my journey to get me here to so that I have the insight so that I can make the decisions for what is right for me and where I am right now. And who's to say that that may change in the I don't know. I can only live from where I am right now.
Mm. And it's true,
And it's true. Yeah.
it's
Most
true.
importantly, it's true. Most importantly, it's true.
Okay, so is there a verse?
I did. I wanted to this is what changed it for me when like really helped me get out of sex work. This is the part that got me out. I'm in Proverbs 31, so the end of Proverbs. What is worth and I read the inclusive Bible, so it removes all references to God as masculine and it is more inclusive of sex work. So this is the Bible that I read and has really also helped me because I have a lot of the old patriarchy stuff that's in my psyche too. So I sometimes struggle with a really masculine God, but this has helped me resolve it. Okay. What is worth more than a strong and loving wife? She is more precious than jewels. Her husband's heart trusts in her, from which no little gain is drawn. She brings good, not evil, to her house all the days of her life. For she seeks out tools of her trade and works with willing hands. She is like a merchant ship which brings provisions from far off. She rises before dawn to put into motion the working of the household. After some consideration, she buys a field, and with that she has earned, puts in a vineyard. She is up to the demands of labor, and her limbs rise to meet the tasks. She enjoys the success that comes with hard work, and her lamp burns late at night. She works the spindle in one hand while holding the distaff in the other. She holds out a hand to the hungry and opens her arms to the homeless. She prepares her household for snowy weather, and they are all warmly clothed. She makes her own quilts and dresses in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected in the public square and takes a seat among the elders. She makes linen garments for the market and delivers belts to the merchants. Strength and honor are her main. She rejoices in the future. Her speaking displays her wisdom. Words of kindness come from her tongue. She supervises the household well and does not sit idle. Her children rise up and bless her. Her husband too says, "Thank you." Many women who have done very well, but you excel them all. Charm deceives and beauty flees, but she who fears Yahweh is worthy of praise. May she be filled with the fruit of her hands, and may her works be extolled in the public sphere. So, what is worth more than a strong and loving wife? And that to me, that's what I was like, I can't do this work and be this woman. There's a different way, a different place, a different, like, that's not who I was becoming, but it's who I want to be. And I feel much closer to that today. And that's from Proverbs. And that's actually told, that's not the voice of a man, that's told from a voice of a woman. And I think that's what I love the most is a mother talking to her son about the power of a strong and beautiful wife. So that to me is just, it just sums it up. Like I want to be extolled in the public square. I want people to be like of service. Like that's peace that is so pure in both of our hearts of being of service, of sharing this love, of being this light, being able to offer it in truth and honesty without it being that perverted, distorted, warped version of it. Letting it be pure, letting it be honest, letting it be true, letting it be grounded in this light, in this love, and letting the rest of it just kind of work itself out. Because
Wow. Thank you so much for presencing that, reading that, and just for your heart and for your like commitment to devotion to what you know you're here to be and do and have. And it's just so clear to me that it is women coming into right relationship with that and men coming into right relationship with who they get to be as husbands, as leaders, as fathers. Like we are each one person, and two is more powerful than one. And when two are in union in a way that is so honoring and so filled with so much love and care, the way that that influences everyone around them, the way that that inspires and uplifts and empowers everyone around them, like that's the kind of love that I'm here for, that you're here for, that I know so many people are here for, so many people desire. And it's the kind of love that the future is calling us into collectively,
I
I
feel
believe.
it. I definitely feel that collective opening, a collective awakening, a collective desire for more depth, more realness, more truth. It's like, if anything, like this world is moving so deeply into the untruths, into the like, you can make anything, AI, like you can literally create anything. But there is truth and there's an organic nature to life that is undeniable. So you can keep putting all this crap and keep building all this crap, but like the truth, I don't think is going to change. And so for me, it's like as the world continues to just feels like it's barreling along, that we can just slow down and come back to ourselves and come back to that truth, to that love, to that simplicity of what this life is and stop making it so hard on ourselves, right? Be gentle with each other, with ourselves, give ourselves some of that grace. Yeah.
It actually gets to be easy. Like it's actually so simple and it gets to be easy. And like, yes, like there will be challenges as there are in life. It's like choose your challenges,
Yeah.
right? Are the challenges that you do encounter, are they in service of like more of that ego and that like trying, striving, seeking validation? Or are the challenges in service of like you growing and becoming the person that you were born to be and empowering those around you to do the same and like coming into a marriage with that kind of posture and lifting each other up and serving all the people around you? Like that is after being for years, I was like a social justice activist and I was very focused on the sort of like global scale issues. And it was like grabbing my attention a
Mhm.
lot. And I got so burnt out and I was like, I can't do this. I can't actually serve if I'm just burnt out all the time. And so I took such a big step back. And it doesn't surprise me that where I've oriented is into this like tending to the intimacy between individuals, like with ourselves, with our higher power, and between individuals, because this is where it all begins.
Yeah.
What we see on the world stage is a reflection. It is like a outpicturing of what is happening here between individuals. And the more that we live in alignment with what is true, the more we will come to see that reflected on the world stage,
I
right? Like,
I believe that fully and wholeheartedly. It starts in our own backyard, in our own worlds, in our own communities. And it's like, how are you showing up in your actual life, in your actual communities, in your actual relationships? Like the relationships with your family, with your mother, with your father, with your siblings. Like, how are you actually showing up? Are you still showing up with that resentment, with that expectation, with that judgment? Because if you're doing like, it's such a microcosm and it all is right here. And it actually is first in here. Because if you're doing that on the outside, again, it's probably because you're judging and resentful and not holding that expectation for your own self. So, like,
mhm.
do the inner work, let it go, and be gentle and easy and be kind to one another and to yourself. Ugh. But yeah, for me, it's like those relationships change on such a small scale, and then our communities change, our neighborhoods change, our cities change, our states change, like the whole world changes that way. But everyone's like, I want to change the world. I'm like, okay, what are you doing to change yourself? What are you doing to change yourself and how you show up? Because you want to change the world, start right here. Again, Jesus said it first. Number one thing he said, first thing he said, the first thing you see Jesus say in the Bible, change your heart and change your mind. Start there. And the rest of it will be revealed in perfect timing.
Wow.
This was fun.
Wow. This just, yes, yes, it was. And I just feel so grateful, so grateful to you and your honesty and your heart and your sensitivity and love and boldness, and like you are that woman. You are that woman, and you are ever in your becoming of her more and more. And it's such a pleasure to witness you and to be walking alongside you in this world, in this time. I would love to hear, Amanda, if there's anything that you would like to share as sort of like a closing message or something that you want people to, I mean, there's so many gems in this already, but like maybe something to person, that one person who is like really struggling, really scared, really frozen and and confused.
I'm gonna, if you're scared, frozen, confused, I'm gonna invite you to just relax and try to let it go a little bit. Just let it go. Give it up. Give it up to a power that's greater than yourself. You don't have to figure it out. Not today. Today is not the day that you have to figure it out. Just see if you can create some space between you and whatever that chaos is. Because if I've learned anything, it is that God, creator, life force is simple, clear, divine. Like it's so simple. And if it's coming from a place of chaos and confusion and complication, and if it just feels too much, it probably is. It probably is too much. And so just let it go and just trust. Because like we all have our own higher power. We all have our own version of it, our own connection to it, and it's right there for us to connect with. Some people, like I've even heard God referred to as the great outdoors. So just get outside and witness the great outdoors and give yourself a little perspective that it's not all about you and that there's so much more going on that we don't know and that it's okay. We got this. Life is meant to be fun. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be
Yeah.
experienced, and we get to enjoy this life.
Yes.
So,
Mm, yes. Amen. And just want to add in that I believe the most repeated thing that Jesus says in the Bible is do not be afraid.
mhm.
Do not be afraid. It's grace gets to be simple. Listen for that quiet voice, that quiet inner knowing, beneath all the noise. Ah, what a blessing that you have done that yourself. And it shows.
Yeah. It's hard. I know it's hard, but it is. It's a relationship that's built over time through it's like trust. It's like you get the little inkling, the little insight, and then you move. You do the next right thing, and it's like, okay, let me see how that settled. Okay, then you move, and you see how that settled. And then over time, you start to notice, like, oh, this is all working out for me. Even
Hmm.
if it doesn't seem like it, even though I'm putting my perspective on it, that it is all in service of who you're becoming. Because clearly,
Mm.
like this whole story, I couldn't have crafted this story. Clearly, this is a story that's written by somebody that's greater than I am. So,
Yes. Mm. Trust, trust, faith, truth. I have loved this conversation.
I love it. So good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I listened to my higher power that said, can you please reach out to Alyssa and share your testimony? I'm like, okay. Because I also feel like a little bit like this is the beginning of other women, you having other conversations with other women sharing their testimony is
Yeah.
the feeling that I have behind it is like this is just the beginning of you helping women to share part of their story, to make sense of it, to show the value in all of those mistakes, and that it all is leading to this place of more truth, more love, more light. And it's so beautiful to witness you and your journey and helping to bring that forward because it does feel like this is just the beginning of your this evolution of both of us and your journey and my journey. It's so fun to be here with you.
Yes. I completely agree. I feel that as well. All right.
Yum.
Thank you again. Sending you so much love.